Joining us now is Julius Kleynhans from the Joburg Crisis Alliance. Julius, you must be very happy.
Yeah, look, we're not celebrating a victory. I think it's important to see that the mayor, vacates office. I think what we really need to see now is the councillors electing a leader that is seasoned, that is transparent, and that can actually get people to reignite trust within the city. I think it's very important for whoever takes up the mayoral role to ensure that there's a clear delegation of power, meaning that they should not interfere with administration, and actually give the city's administration the ability to get on with their jobs and ensure that service delivery becomes a priority. We also hope that whoever comes into power, and we don't care who the political party is, we will hold into account. But this person needs to come in and lead, and also ensure that they engage with civil society and business to get input on what's really needed to fix up the city and get buy-in so that everyone gets hands on deck so that we can turn the tide.
We know for a fact, though, and you and I have spoken about this, that the ANC was behind his mayorship, that he was not the person who was responsible for the 200 rands electricity surcharge. All these were decisions of the ANC in the main.
Look, this is where you need someone who can lead and stand for what's best for the citizens. I think the coalition governments is the problem. Politics in our municipalities are the problem. That's where ideologies come into play in coalitions that affect service delivery. I see that the majority parties you've mentioned forming new coalitions now and speaking about the fact that service delivery within the city of Johannesburg has been haunting them. But they need to rather focus on the professionalization of the city's administration, ensuring that there's clear vision and performance management and targets that these individuals who are employed to do their jobs get it done, and that there's consequence management should they not do that. So whoever is a coalition government or the politicians, they need to step back and play their role as oversight and being the conduit between civil society and administration. They need to get their hands off the business of local government.
It was very interesting for me. I mean, I don't know if you watched the briefing the ANC had a short while ago, where the ANC takes credit for unqualified audits that have been achieved in the past year, 120 cases or so of corruption that have been investigated. People have been arrested, and the city is turning the tide, and so on. Revenue collection is up. They're busy with public works programs, a long list of things that they have achieved while this guy was in charge.
Look, I think viewers and respective residents and businesses need to apply their minds. We call this narrative economics. It is where you tell the people what you want them to hear. But I think the people on the ground see something different. And I think that's very important. Keep in mind the local elections is coming up in 2 years from now. And a lot of these politicians are very desperate to get results. So I think this is a great opportunity for them to actually be uncomfortable and be a bit more focused on providing proper services to the people so that they can build the trust when local elections are coming up in 2 years from now. But it's very important to look through what's being said, because as you've mentioned, this coalition was formed strategically by a majority of votes within council, and people have access to the information of who they are. The tariffs and charges that have been increased now, 2 months ago, have been passed by the very same council. The prepaid surcharge under Dada Morero, who is now seeming to be the preferred candidate to become the next mayor, he's been in charge of as a mayoral executive over finance in the city. So I don't see them addressing the inefficiencies, but rather trying to keep power. And that is at their detriment because the people can see through that.
In fact, the city's former mayor, Paul Palazzo, said something in a bite we played a little earlier, suggesting that perhaps whoever should take over shouldn't be someone from the current administration. I would imagine, for similar reasons to the one you have just articulated now. And interestingly, Colin Makubele, who is a former speaker, who did say, and she's right, that she was never a fan of Kabelo Kwamanda or his appointment in the first place. Like also saying that if you look honestly at what has been done or what has happened over the past year, you can't really, in all honesty, blame Kabelo Kwamanda, which then, as you're saying, perhaps the people of Johannesburg should really look or listen to the statements that were made today and the calls that were made previously with their eyes and ears wide open. The fact of the matter, though, is that it is those politicians who will sit on Friday and take a decision about who will be the next mayor.
Yeah, and I think folks need to make a note of who they are. And come the next local elections in 2 years from now, remember this year and the year before. I think it's very important that we take this very seriously. And as you've mentioned, we need proper seasoned leadership to actually lead the city. You're talking about a budget of 80 billion rand that affects you and I and everyone else who lives in the city. And we need someone who can responsibly manage that and ensure that it's fit for purpose. We must ensure that the money is spent wisely and cost effectively to provide for its intended purpose, and which is basic services. So we need to look at that amount of money and really apply our minds to what is the kind of talent that you need to oversee that and ensure that it's utilized correctly. And I almost want to say, if you're talking about the professionalization of local government, it is very important to maybe start looking at what kind of talent is in the leadership positions in private businesses who actually manage the same amount of budgets of 80 billion rand. And I think that's where we will start drawing the conclusion that we need really responsible, transparent, and good leaders that can take us forward.
My concluding question, as the alliance that you're a part of, together with a whole host of other civil society organizations and foundations, said the last time there was the protest action that you will also be calling for members of the mayoral executive to also resign.
Yes, I suppose with a change in the mayor, we'll already see a shuffle and a change within the mayoral committee that would come with it. But yes, you are right. The decisions that's been made over the past year or two, and the effects on service delivery, and also the budgets that we're seeing that's been allocated for the next year or two, has been conducted under the current mayoral executive. And don't forget those individuals as well, because they had a big role to play in this.
So you're no longer making that call in light of the latest move?
Yes, so just to clarify that call remains, but we do know that with the change in the mayor, there will be a change in the committee structures that follows, because they need to account and report into the new mayor.
Even though it'll, in all probability, be musical chairs, really?
I don't expect a big difference and change, especially if you look at the coalition. And I think that's very important for people to understand that the influence and impact that the political coalition has on the administration within the city has a direct effect on the service delivery output. And that's why we need to take account for that and ensure that we start exercising our rights with proper civil oversight. We need to get into these council meetings. We need to start looking at the performance agreements. We need to start monitoring the execution of projects and budgets. And we also need to keep in mind that local elections are around the corner. And we need to start exposing who we don't want to lead us in the near future.
Julius Kleynhans, thank you once again.